had mentioned in the 90s and made it on the other side, better for it. It's interesting, Graham. Like, when I hear you speak, years ago when I heard Joe Rogan speak, and I saw you on Joe's show about a week and a half ago or so. I heard you on a bunch of shows. Joe is one of those guys, again, he brings a lot of insight to, regular people like us,
Well, Joe Rogan is a great man, and he's walked the walk for many, many years.
Yeah.
He's lived life. He's had experience, and he draws on that experience to speak to the world, and that is a very helpful thing to do. There's a need in our society for more people like Joe Rogan.
Definitely. Joe Rogan, absolutely an inspiration. One of the reasons that I sort of had this inspiration to have my own show, and absolutely, it was funny because I heard you gentlemen talking about it on his show, and you were so humble, speaking how you enjoy, connecting with people on Facebook, and Joe saying that, it's awesome that, all these other people started podcasts after hearing his, and it really is this evolutionary thing. And the point I was going to make that is really neat is that people like us that were, around in the 90s, exploring ideas, like I mentioned, we're able to grasp your ideas in a way that are really, there. I understand. It feels like innately what you're saying. It makes so much sense.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think a new form of communication is developing. If you go back not too far, you'll find that communications were dominated by the big media, by the big television stations, by the big radio stations, by big national newspapers, and so on and so forth. And therefore, the messages that were put across could be controlled by a tiny elite. What has happened with the internet, and it's happening at a growing pace in the last 10 years, has been the complete democratization of information, that we are able to talk to one another, to form communities of ideas, to share ideas and experiences, to learn from one another in a very direct way without the big media telling us what to think or what we must know. And I think this phenomenon of the podcast, of direct communication, of small podcasts starting up and sending out their message is a really good thing. And we're in the process of forging, creating, designing, if you like, a new world. And a new way of doing things. It's like when you put a piece of metal into the forge and heat it up, and it melts, and then you have to beat it into shape. That's what's happening now. We're beating into shape a new way for people in society to communicate with one another. And the old way of doing things is a completely broken and failed model. It is not going to be appropriate to the world that we're all going to be living in the years to come. But at the moment, there's a feeling of a lot of chaos and insecurity and anxiety and doubt, because we are in the process of making something new, and we don't know yet what that new thing is exactly going to be. All that we do know is that it needs to be made.